Leo had a gift for waiting, not for a table at a busy restaurant or a delayed train, but for life itself. His particular flaw was a crippling form of perfectionist procrastination. In the vibrant, sun-drenched coastal town of Porto, Leo ran a small but respected custom furniture workshop. The issue wasn't a lack of commissions. It was a graveyard of unfinished masterpieces. He spent weeks meticulously planning, researching exotic woods, and sketching, only to freeze when it came time for the first, irreversible cut. "It's not perfect yet," he'd tell his assistant Max. "The design needs one more refinement." But one more refinement meant another week, then another. The emotional weight of his unstarted potential was a heavy cloak. He felt perpetually tired, not from work, but from the exhausting mental battle against the future he kept postponing. His workshop was immaculate, yet deeply unsettling, a gallery of potential, never actualized. He worried constantly about lost opportunities, yet refused to seize the ones in front of him. One morning, Max, tired of dusting the same 3 perfectly sanded but unassembled chairs, pushed a worn business card across Leo's workbench. It belonged to Miss Elena Voss, an industrial designer and entrepreneur whose reputation wasn't for her award-winning furniture, but for her unparalleled insight into human potential. They say she could spot a flaw in a business plan or a person's character with equal, unsettling precision. Leo, desperate for a solution that didn't involve picking up his own tools, drove inland to her secluded studio. He laid out his struggle, the paralysis, the fear of the permanent mistake, the crushing weight of tomorrow's possibilities. Miss Voss, a woman with sharp, kind eyes and silver hair braided with leather, didn't interrupt. When he finished, she simply nodded and stood. "Come with me, Leo. I have something to show you." She led him to a garden room, quiet and filled with the scent of damp earth. On a low stone table sat a single, plain, clear glass of water, filled precisely to the very brim. The surface was taut, convex, holding the water in a perfect, fragile dome. "This, Miss," Voss said, placing her palm flat on the table, "is your opportunity, your life, and your design potential. It is perfectly full the present moment." She lifted the glass and handed it to Leo. "I want you to walk the perimeter of this room. Do not spill a single drop. If you do, we'll start over." Leo accepted the glass. It was heavier than it looked, and the water's dome shimmered precariously. He began to walk, his focus entirely consumed by the few millimeters of space between the water's edge and the lip of the glass. He moved with agonizing slowness, his eyes glued to the liquid. He ignored the beautiful light, the texture of the stone floor, and the scent of the roses. He was focused only on not spilling. He completed one lap, then a second. His brow was furrowed with concentration. On the third lap, Miss Voss spoke, her voice soft but direct. "Leo, what did you see on your walk?" "The water," he replied, his voice a tense whisper. "Only the surface of the water. I was watching for the spill." "Exactly," she said. She gently took the glass, placed it back on the table, and removed a small pitcher from under the table. She poured a single, controlled stream of water into the glass until it ran slightly over the brim, a continuous, silvery sheet falling onto the stone. "The water is going to spill, Leo. Not later, not tomorrow, but right now. Opportunities don't wait for your perfect timing. They are already overflowing. Every moment you spend paralyzed by the fear of the future of the spilled drop, you miss the ability to interact with the world around you. You are so worried about the potential mess that you refuse to even look up and see the roses." She tapped the glass. You cannot be full of potential and fully present at the same time. Something has to be released to make room for action. The metaphor struck Leo with the force of a sudden clap of thunder. He saw his perfect, pristine sketches, his full glass of potential, and realized that his fear of spilling, making a mistake, had prevented him from actually doing anything. He was treating the present moment like a precious, stagnant thing to be guarded, not a flowing river to be entered. He didn't need another refinement. He needed a cut. He drove straight back to Porto, not home, but to his workshop. Max was still there, reading a book. Leo didn't say a word. He walked over to the most delayed commission, a complex 9-drawer mahogany dresser. Without pausing, he picked up the marking gauge and, with a swift, steady hand, drew the first deeply incised line into the smooth wood that had sat untouched for 6 weeks. It was permanent. It was a commitment. That first line was an absolute release. The mental static vanished. Leo stopped obsessing about the dresser's eventual perfection and started focusing on the immediate task. This cut, this joint, this moment. The fear of the future was replaced by the absorption of the present. Over the next few months, his workshop transformed. It was less pristine, dusted with sawdust, but humming with activity. He not only finished the dresser beautifully, but he finished 5 other delayed projects. He learned that the mistakes weren't catastrophes. They were just wood to be sanded down, action to be corrected, not reasons for paralysis. He began taking on more challenging commissions, realizing that the value of his work wasn't in its potential, but in its completion. He succeeded not because he was no longer afraid, but because he finally understood that action is the only cure for fear. Leo later sent Miss Voss a small, perfectly crafted wooden tray engraved with a single phrase, "The water is already spilling." He learned that a life lived in fear of a mistake is a life where the true, vibrant colors of the world go unseen. The perfect moment to begin is not a future event you must protect, but the very moment you hold in your hands and it is already flowing over the edge. Opportunities don't wait, they overflow. If you learn something about overcoming your own fears of the perfect start, perhaps this story can help someone you know begin their own journey. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that challenge the way you look at time and potential.